If you're seeing me for the first time, I am Mercy. I'm a mother of five, a homemaker, a wife, a working lady. So I am that one in all. So, looking at the topic today, down below, we are saying education of the children should begin at home. Yeah, your child's education, teaching him or her how to behave, all that should begin from home. The home is the first school. Before you take your child to start primary or nursery, you should have done a lot with your child at home at an early age. So I have three stories to share with you before. Let me just push this a little bit. Sorry. I haven't even. All right. Before we go ahead, I want us to share these three stories. Yeah, so that you pick up something that I want to share with you today. The first story. One time I went to attend a certain training in Kampala, and it was a training that took quite a long time. It took 1.5 months, and because that training was so long, while I was there, yeah, I started communicating with some of my friends who were around that area. And there was this long-term friend of mine. I'd taken long without seeing her. She is a childhood friend who grew up with me in the village, and she got married. But because of work, she moved with her spouse to those ends in a nearby district to Kampala to stay there because she was working. So when I caught up with her on phone, she requested me to pay her a visit. And I was like, why not? It's really long since we last met each other. So, but guys, this eye of mine is really painful, eh? Okay. So we met, and yes, Michael, hello. Hi. So I decided to catch up with her. We agreed, made appointment, and then I paid a visit. She sent me a driver to pick me up from the training place to pick me up, and I went to her home. But upon reaching there, guys, you should not miss out this story. I was so surprised on what I found there. Yes. How old are you? Are you married? How tall are you? What are you doing? Okay. Hi. Hi, Vaktesh. You will excuse me. I'm not good at pronouncing some of your names here, but hello to you all who are viewing me. As you join the live, kindly give it a like and we move on. I have three beautiful stories to share with you that we shall learn something from them about training up our children while at home. So I was in this stage where my friend has sent me a driver to pick me up because actually I didn't know where she was staying. I didn't know her home. So she sent me a driver to pick me up, and then the driver took me to her home. So when we reached there, She told, we found actually two children, two of her children, one about 10 years and the other around 7 years. They were playing in the compound. So the driver moved in. Of course, the driver knew the children. He had been their driver at home several times. So he moved in, he greeted the children, and he asked them where their mother was. And they told him, Mom is behind. She's cooking in the kitchen. So we went behind, we joined the mother. She was so excited to see me. You know, we had taken several years without meeting each other. So she was so happy. I was so happy as well. So guys, it was really a beautiful moment for us. Yeah, so even her spouse was at home, so we were welcomed in the house. You know, when you're a visitor, we're welcomed in the house. We're so happy. We started having stories, jazzing, talking childhood stories, yeah, family stories, yeah, we're discussing about our children, about life, our work, what we are doing. It was really an exciting moment. Lily says, Hi, you are nice and beautiful. Hi, Lily, how are you? Thank you. Then Kandra says, What are you doing? I'm just seated in my room. I'm sharing a story with you here about parenting. Yeah, I'm sharing a story about parenting. Vacantesh says super English talking. I don't know if my English is super because I have a lot of influence of my mother tongue in the English. So I don't know if my English is clear, but thank you, Vakatesh, for the comment, for the thank you so much. So they say, don't talk English. So what should I talk? If I talk my local language, you'll not even understand it. Should I speak my local language? Kendra, should I speak my local language? I know my local language and English only. Where are you from? I'm from Uganda, the Pearl of Africa. I'm from Uganda. And Sam, where are you from? So I was just telling you this story. This story brings out some aspect of parenting. So when I went there, my friend welcomed me. We had a long jazz in her house. I didn't know that one of her daughters was in. She had a teenage daughter, a daughter who was a teenager, a grown up at least. She was in secondary school. So the daughter comes out of her bedroom and passes in the sitting room where we were seated, actually, where we were conversing from. And she walks through the sitting room and gets out of the house without greeting me, who was a visitor there. So the father, upon seeing the daughter exiting, calls her back and like, Grace, are you not seeing that we have a visitor in the house? So Grace makes a U-turn. Grace is not her real name. I've just decided not to use the real name because I want us to pick up something from here. I don't want to talk people's names here. So she came back and greeted me and then went out. So the mothers started complaining. I don't know how these children want to grow up. They don't want to greet. They don't want to, how can they tell you to greet even at that age of yours? You don't know you're supposed to greet. So it was like that. But I was so shocked. At the same time, I was not surprised because when I came in with the driver, the first two boys who were playing in the compound, they actually never cared at all, like they've seen any of us. They just looked, it's the driver who greeted them and asked them where the mother was. But the children were minding their own business. They are not bothered at all who is in their compound. So when this daughter also never greeted, I was not surprised. I was just like, there's something wrong here. So of course, we had our good time with the mother. We have been long-term friends since, but of course, I'd not seen her for a long time. Neither had I seen her children. I didn't know how the children were behaving, but that was my first time to see the children, and that was it. So that time we had our dinner. So we had dinner. I had dinner with the parents, but the children were not there. I think they were having their own time doing other things out. So we had dinner together, and then Samra says that's cool. Some of my family lives there. Okay. Um, okay, Sam. Thank you. So when were done having our dinner, of course the driver decided to leave, and he told us that when I'm ready to go back, we give him a call and he picks me up. So we spent time together jazzing, talking generally about life, and later in the evening, yeah, she called a driver to pick me up to take me back to the training center. So I went back, but it remained in my mind. Why are these children behaving like this? They can't greet, meaning they have not taught them to greet from childhood. Greeting has not been something that has been emphasized in their home. So that's why the children don't greet visitors when they come. So that's when you see even that teenage girl at her age, she can't greet. It's because it's something that has not been taught to them. So greeting to them, I think it's an optional thing. So that is one story. The second story I want to share with you, it was an event that I was invited from my village. You know, in my village, there is a tradition that if your daughter gives birth, yeah, you have to go and visit and see the baby and also see your daughter who has given birth. So meaning you, the mother, and your friends, you're going to your in-laws place to see your daughter, and of course you're going to carry some gifts for her and for the baby. So I had a cousin who was married in some distant district from home. So I was invited as well to join the group of my grandmas, my aunties, and some of other neighbors that we have in the village. So we're about 10 people also who traveled to go and visit. So in our group, we had two ladies who had children. One had a child of 3 years and the other one had a child of about either 5 or 6 months, around there. So we traveled. Upon reaching the in-laws place, we welcomed guys. We had fun there. We had lots of celebrations. It was happiness, you know. Too much food, too much fun, traditional music, we danced. We really had our time. But there is something that happened while we were there. When they served us food, you know, when you're at your in-laws place, in my culture, you don't eat from outside, so they take you in the house. So they served us food in the house. We went in the house to eat. Now we enter the house. They brought lots of food. You know, village, they don't put food on the dining, no? They serve food on the floor. They simply lay mats on the floor and then they put food. So they served us food. It was a lot of food, guys. You know these ceremonies in the village, too much food, rice, meat, chicken, turkey, talk about it. So when they served us food, something so funny happened, guys. This young child of 3 years started to cry for food. You know, he didn't want anybody else in the house to touch any plate of food. So the boy was like, that is his food. So whoever touched any food, the boy started throwing himself down, crying, pouring things. You know how children behave when they fall down and then they start rolling and what, the child started giving that expression over food. He didn't want anybody to touch any dish of food. It was an embarrassment. I could see the anger in the mother's face, you know, like she was fumed, like she just wanted to eat up that child, but there was nothing she could do. I don't know whether this behavior had been going on at home with this child, or it just took her by surprise at the visit. I don't know. But what we experienced there was so embarrassing. There was nothing we could do to calm down this child. The child was super, super destructive in the house, was very angry, was very much, guys, the child was crying. You can't calm the child down. So it was really tough for the mother. The mother felt embarrassed. There was nothing she could do. Neither would beating the child make the child calm down. There was nothing. All the child wanted was that all the food belonged to him. Nobody else should touch the food. So when the visit concluded and we're coming back, the mother was not happy. She was feeling embarrassed by what had happened, and of course, we had moved with some elderly women, and of course, they had to blame her and not the child. They blamed her on how she had groomed the child, how could she allow the child to reach that extent, to grow such a kind of behavior. Yeah, so it was tough, you know, it was tough. Mothers, I hope you understand that embarrassment. I just want you to imagine you've gone for a party, maybe a wedding, maybe some other function, I mean, that is very important, and your child behaves like that. How would you feel? I could feel how this lady was feeling at the moment. I would feel her emotions running through her because of the behavior of her child. You know, there is no mother who wants a child to behave that way. But if you don't sacrifice to tame your child at an earlier age to build a certain moral behavior, of course you expect that to happen. So that happened, and that was that story. Yeah. The first story was children who don't greet at home. They don't greet visitors. Everything is about them, and their home is their home. Anybody who comes in is a nobody. That is how those children always behave. They behave by not greeting, they don't care at all. You just know the attitude there. And then this child number two, child with poor or bad table manners. You know, yeah, it is still a role to instill good table manners to our children at an early age. So that was story number two. Story number three, guys, what I've not witnessed. I don't know whether I'm the only one who sees these things happen in the community, but if you've also ever seen a certain character in a child that you somehow blame the parent should be responsible for that behavior, comment in the comment section down below and let's share this. Actually, there are certain behaviors that should actually stop in our children. We should not allow our children to behave that way. Yeah, as parents, because these behaviors always show up at home, and we just ignore them and don't correct them, and these children grow up with these behaviors. The story number 3 was of an abusive child. When I was taking my boy to start nursery, one time I went to take him to school. If you've ever taken a child to school for a first time, you know what happens. Those children always have a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear. They don't know anybody at school. The child is scared about the environment, and also they are used to playing at home, and now here they are controlling them, do this, sit down, it makes the child anxious. So that first week at school, children usually cry. They don't even want to be there, actually, because the teacher, they don't know. The children who are there, they are seeing them for a first time. So there is this boy I found crying. This boy was so aggressive. He was crying, and he was so abusive. Whoever tried to calm him down, he would just abuse. And it is not these simple abuses, words like you say you're stupid or what. This boy was using tough words, vulgar words, for abusing any adult who would try to calm him down at school, including the teacher, including any other person who would say anything, maybe try to calm him down, tell him, Mommy will come back for you. He will abuse. Yeah. And this boy was using this little child. In baby, a child is about three and a half, something like that. That's the age they take children to nursery, baby class. So this boy was so aggressive, so abusive, was using vulgar language, tough words, and you know how words can be tough when you use them, especially in vernacular. They are heavy words that when you use them in a local language, hey, you really see that this is serious. So this child was so abusive, to the extent that the teacher who had received this child was also like, I think there's a problem here. This is not normal behavior. Everybody was just concerned because he was the only child who was so vulgar and abusive in the group of children who were crying. So I witnessed that and I was like, wow, parenting is a demanding job. So before you take your child to school, that you're taking him or her to start to get education, don't forget that the education of your child starts at home. Yeah? It is at home that the education of the child begins. Yeah, and you should begin it now. If you've not been teaching your child anything, there are a lot of things that we teach our children at home. Yeah, and this kind of education at home, it is gradual. There is nothing like this is first term, second term, or what. It is a gradual and silent kind of education. But if it's done the right way, yeah, it can produce far great effect and positive effect in the life of your child. It can be these morals that you teach your child, this good behavior that you will train your child. It will reach far. That child cannot forget. So the child will grow up with a well-laid foundation. Yeah? Actually, it is in childhood that these foundations are laid. If you want a foundation of good moral, good character, those good behaviors, we lay that foundation in childhood. Yeah? Then, as the child continues to grow, the character just continues to build on the basis that started at an early age. We don't start building good morals in a child when the child is already mature, an adult, or what. We start building good character at a young age when the child is so receptive. Yeah? You know, one thing I want to tell you, when you give birth to your child at that tender age, what that child requires, what is very important to them at that age is pleasure. They want to do things that bring pleasure to them. They don't want to do anything that seems so difficult to be done. They want to do things, only things that are pleasurable to them. But as the child continues to grow, we need to start introducing good morals like sharing, like greeting, yeah, like using good language, you know, all that we start introducing to the child, because when you give back to them, they don't know those things. All they want is what makes them happy. Yeah, so it is upon us as parents to take up, to start bringing in instructions. Yeah, it is through instruction you sit down and give instructions on how you want things to be done. Which kind of behavior do you want in your home? You give instructions to the child. That is one way that you can train up your child. Another way, these children learn by watching what we do as parents. They practically see how you talk, how you do things, how you react. They observe all that. Yeah? And then number 3, they will learn from other people, like the neighbors, the friends, the teachers at school, the preachers in church, social media. Those are now other ways they will lay these foundations. But the first foundation is to come from you, the parent, as an instructor of your child. You see, when you're instructing your child, you know, there is a problem with parents of nowadays. Especially, other parents are better, but especially parents who are working class, parents who usually don't stay at home for whichever reasons. The only time they want to give instruction to their child is when the child has done a mistake, when the child has erred, is when they want to come, correct, rebuke, beat, all that. But actually, these instructions should be laid out plainly and continuously be taught to this child, just like any other daily routine. Like you see teachers who are instructors at school, they always have time, they sit down and lesson plan and scheme which topics to be taught to the child, and then they will even go ahead and set a test or an exam just to see that has this child understood what I taught. So the same way, even us as parents, we should sit down and lay out what things we want to teach our children at an early age. Yeah, maybe your child is between 1 month to 6 months. What are you supposed to teach the child? At that stage, you start teaching your child how to use a potty, how to make them sit and help themselves, so that child learns potty manners. At that stage, you also go ahead and maybe teach the child how to hold a cup and drink, and not to pour food, to pour what they are drinking all over. So you make the child start to learn to hold the cup and drink by themselves. Yeah, so there are stages of teaching. Yeah? And our kind of training or instructing our children, it is an informal kind of training. You don't have to go for maybe to school and learn lesson scheming for teaching your child. No, these are morals that we learned from our parents, and we are just extending from generation to generation. So these lessons come with the age of the child. So as the child grows, different lessons are introduced to the child. Yeah. I want to share a brief story about my family. In my family, I have 5 children, and I think most of the teaching that I did on my firstborn, secondborn. So these other children, some things they have learned from their brothers. Of recent, my young boy, who is now 1.5 years, I saw him starting to kneel down to thank me for cooking. Yeah, before he even made 1.5. After eating, he comes and kneels down before me and tells me thank you for cooking, because he sees his siblings all the time after eating, or when they get something from me, they kneel down and thank me for that thing. So he also adapted and he started to do it. Yeah. So once you start to train up these children, the others also train the what? The young ones. The elder ones will train the young ones. And some of the things will just flow automatically. We do have family altar. Every evening we pray together as a family. But as I speak now, my son who is 4 years and my daughter who is 6 and is about to make 7, they can't go to sleep before you pray with them. Either you're still busy doing other things, or you're sick, or something else is happening. Immediately they finish to have their dinner and they want to go and sleep, they will come and ask you to pray for them before they go and sleep. So it is something that is now automatic. It is an automatic remote for them. They can't go to sleep before either I pray with them or their father prays with them. You have to pray with them before they go and sleep. It's something that they've now learned, and they've grown up with it. In my house, a visitor can't come down and can't come in my home, and the children don't welcome. The first thing they will do, welcome the visitor, give the visitor a seat, and they run to me. If I'm in the bedroom, they come and tell me there's a visitor outside. If it's the father there, they'll come and call him and tell him there is a visitor. So these are things that you should teach your children. These are not going to be taught at school by the teacher. The teacher is not going to teach your child to greet, teach your child table manners, teach your child to welcome visitors, yeah, teach your child to behave well. It is your work as a parent, yeah. It is your work as a parent at home. Start doing it as early as possible when the brains of these children are still so receptive. Because if you miss out that stage, just know that when these children grow older, it is going to be very difficult for you to start introducing those lessons to them. It is unfortunate that some people also struggle with parenting because some people have also been parented poorly, so they basically don't know what to do. But if you fall in that kind of category, yeah, you can always seek out help from people who can do it, to help guide you on how to parent, on how to train up your children, especially in behavior, so that you're able to bring up upright children. Yeah. And if you realize that there is a certain behavior in your child that you're failing to put under control, Yeah, it's always good to seek professional help. Let a professional help you to deal with that child and bring that behavior under control before it overwhelms you. Yeah, before it overwhelms you. I've seen parents who move with a child either to the supermarket or in town, and the child is just way too stubborn that the parent can't do anything. Yeah, if a child is in the supermarket, will go picking up everything. You can't control, you can't tell them stop, you can't tell them nothing, and they respond to you. You know, sometimes some people say that she is only a child, or maybe she will change when she grows up, she will understand. My friend, no, that child will not change. Instead, things will get worse and worse as this child grows up. Yeah, I hope you understand it. So, as parents, if there is anything you should deny your child, do not deny your child this early childhood education. Don't deny your child. Don't be too busy for your child. Your maid cannot train up your child to be the kind of person that you want. I have had maids before, though I don't have any now. Um, but a maid, some will manage, but most of them will not manage to train up your child. What they will care is that as the child eaten, the whichever way they want behave, let them behave. After all, they are not my child. So many maids have that attitude. So if you're too busy for your child, my dear, sit down, reflect upon it, and put yourself right. Start doing the right thing before it gets too late. You know, parenting is best done at childhood to lay that basic foundation for your child in the way that you want them to behave. Even as early as 10 years, 8 years, you start introducing even some management skills. Yeah. And also some decision making skills for your child. You see, I usually send my son when he comes back, I send him to do some little grocery shopping. And, you know, I used to tell him at the start that if this is not there, always look for a replacement that can work uh, just in a related manner to that thing which is not there. So I wanted to encourage him to be able to always to take these personal decisions when he goes to shop. Like if I've gone to buy sugar and maybe sugar is not there in the whole town, I should be able to get something that will provide the same function as sugar. What thing could that be? For this case, it could be honey, because honey is a sweetener. You can use it instead of what? Sugar. Than going to the market and then come back and say what you want is not there. Because I know he is a man, and tomorrow is going to be a home leader. Yeah, you should be able to make decisions, logical decisions. So when I send him to do shopping, if the money is, for instance, less, maybe the prices have gone up a bit, I need him to make a decision either to adjust the amount of things that is buying. If I told you to buy a kilo of this, maybe buy a half a kilo so that money can be distributed to buy all these other things. And I expect him to take that decision. And I always tell him that when I give you this money to go and do this shopping, in case there is anything that is missing, can you please think and get a substitute for that thing? And whenever he goes and he does that, I feel so happy because he will come back and explain everything to me. what has happened. So I really feel so proud of him that is able to do this. Yeah, is able to do this. So we train up our children in an early age to do all that. This training is really very important because when we do train our children at home, we are not only preparing them to be better children, but we are preparing them for service in the kingdom ministry, and also for service in the country. We want to have better servants, better decision makers, better people who are morally upright. So if we don't do that at the basic unit, which is a family, the starting point, we don't expect miracles to happen when these children grow older, you know? And just know that if you fail to do it for this child, you are damaging even his future family, because this child will grow up, yeah, and tomorrow they will have a family too, and they just don't know what to do with their family unless by God's grace they catch up at a certain stage of life. But if they don't, they will struggle. So that's why it is very important for us as parents to really give our children time at a childhood age and do certain things for them the right way. Train them up in the acceptable morals, train them up to fear God so that they grow up Christ-centered children, children who give reverence to God. Train them up in different aspects of life, including finances. Yeah, at a certain age, introduce financial management at their level so that they are not these wasteful children. Yeah, so that they know how to make money, they know how to keep their money, they know how to grow money, they know how to spend. Yeah, introduce all that at an early age. You can do that. Involve the child in the activities that you do, including your businesses. Let them see how you're doing it, you know. Let me just share with you another small story. One time, I stay in a village setting. So our children in the village love playing games, like imitating parent roles. Yeah, you find children playing mother, father. Yeah, so in my village, in the neighborhood, there are these children that I met one time as I was coming back from work, and they were playing that demarcated some area in the banana plantation where they made like their house. Yeah, this is our family, this is the children's house, this is the kitchen, the other one is the the house for the parents. So I found out this other girl, she was playing the mother role, and she was talking the way the mother always speaks to her. Yeah, maybe if she has done a mistake, maybe if she was crying, maybe she would speak. Yeah, children, when they're imitating, they will imitate the words that you use, the tone that you use, yeah, the action that you accompany that word that you've spoken with. So I was like, wow. And then here comes the boy. He was imitating the father, you know. And this boy, the father drinks. So he came back. He was holding a black pill, yeah, like he's now carrying food coming back home, and he was drinking his bottle of the local brew, and he was walking, yeah, staggering all over the road, imitating what he has been seeing. So upon reaching at home, he gets a stick, he starts beating the bananas, the banana plants. Hmm? You woman, are you dense? Are you stupid? And he was drinking his what? His bottle of water, like he's drinking the local brew. He was imitating what goes on. So that is how children learn. So be careful as parents, even as you're training up your child good morals. Make sure that you're practicing good behavior at home. How do you treat the mother of your children? How does the mother treat the father? You know? Yeah, because apart from the instructions that you give them, they will also look at the practical aspect of it. What you're doing, is it in alignment with what you're instructing them to do? So we make sure that whatever character we are inserting or teaching our children, we have to make sure that we are accompanying by our actions. We should portray the same. We should have good morals. We should behave in a certain acceptable way before our children. Not only that before our children, but we should genuinely be that. Yeah, we should genuinely show good character, be an example to our children. Some of us parents, we want our children to be better, which is very good. But for the young children, these preschool children who have not yet started school, or young children generally, they don't understand the aspect of them being better than you as a parent. For them, they look at practically what you're doing and what you're telling them. Yeah? And that's why you see at a certain time, you teach a child a certain character, and the child doesn't want totally to behave that way. And you get pissed. You give up even in teaching, you start beating. Yeah, beating does not instill character. Beating is a punishment. Yeah. So character you build, make sure you behave a certain way. If you're teaching your child a Christ-like behavior, make sure you're a Christ-like person. Yeah. If you're teaching them not to be abusive children, make sure you are not abusive. You're not using abusive language at home. Yeah, you see? The first time my child came, and at school they speak so many different languages. So there are other languages that they didn't know, Children always at school, how children behave. If they know that you don't know a language, they speak funny words and they tell you different translations, and then others laugh at you or what. So one time my daughter came back home and she was asking me a certain word in a certain language that the children were using at school, and she was asking, what does that word mean? Yeah, so I had to explain to her as a parent what it means, and tell her it is not acceptable to use that word in public or to use it on any other person. If children there are using, they are practicing bad behavior, those are bad morals, because that is a vulgar word. So if I could only get that from my daughter, because I'm so free with her, I talk with her. That's why you see she genuinely comes and even asks. Yeah, freely. She's very, very free with me. And so are my other sons also. So how do you relate with your child at home? Are you so tough at your children? Are you somebody who is free with your children? You have time for them, that if they ask you anything, you're willing to give them an answer or talk to them, or you're somebody who is rough, who just backs at them and chases them away. So when you come back home, the children just run. every person to their house. We have those kind of parents also. If the father or the mother comes back home, each child enters their bedroom and their home just becomes so quiet, like there are no people. And this is very common with fathers. Yeah, you find that children at home, they are jazzing, talking with the mother, they are making fun. When they hear the door bang or open, everybody scatters to go and hide. Yeah, the conversation which has been there ends. It's like a lion has come back home. That is not a good way to parent. Yeah, and actually, if you're an aggressive parent, it's not too late for you to change. You can change it for the betterment of your children. Yeah, so that your children grow up as people who are very normal and interactive with everybody at home, including you as a father, and they should not see you as a source of fear. You know, fear is not good. Your children should not fear you, but they should respect you as a father, and they should honor you as a father or as a parent, but not to fear you. If your child says, I fear daddy, I fear mommy, there is a problem. Yeah. They should be able to respect you and honor you as a parent, but not to fear you. Fear is a different thing, meaning if your child even has a serious issue, maybe a social issue, they will not be able to communicate with you because they fear you. Yeah? Yes. So guys, I want to end this live. If you've not yet subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, like the video, and always share the live. When you see me live streaming, and always go ahead and share the live stream to other people, and also like the live stream so that YouTube will send this video to very many different people to join. And and always go ahead, support me, watch my videos. I have other videos that I've posted. Go ahead and watch them. Yeah, and if you're a mother, a homemaker, this channel is good for you. You learn a lot. You learn about parenting, how to care for our children, how to clean and organize our home, just with the things that we have. Here it's all about simple living. Yeah, it's not about luxury and struggling to catch up with what is on the world each and every day, but it's about appreciating what you have and being grateful for what you are, for what God has given you, for the kind of home that you have. Appreciate it just the way it is, and show love to your children, care for your spouse, care for your neighbors, care for serve God, all that, things that bring sanity, humanity, goodness. Yeah, show kindness to people. So all that you get in this channel, and live a simple, slow life. Yeah, living your life on a budget, you don't have to stress out with what is going on all over the world, the new lifestyles, the new accessories, the new what have you, name them. Yeah, we just want to live life the way it is, be passionate about life. There's nothing that is very important than having life, because if you don't have life, the rest you will not have them. So what is very important is living a healthy life. So thank you so much for watching, and for today, let me say goodbye till next time.